Everyone told me to give up. They said he was too broken, that he wasn't a pet. He was excess military equipment. But they didn't see what I saw. They didn't know what we had been through. We survived an IED blast that threw us 10 feet in the air. For us, the war in Iraq was over. But my real fight was just beginning. This is the story of U.S. Marine Corporal Megan Levy and her partner Sergeant Rex. It's a story of incredible courage on the battlefield. Sure, but it's more than that. It's about the fight that started after the war was over. A fight for loyalty, for honor, and for the unbreakable bond between a Marine and her dog. Like a lot of stories, this one starts with a search for belonging. For Megan Levy, a young woman from Valley Cottage, New York, the attacks of September 11th changed everything. Feeling a deep need to do more, she walked into the Marine Corps recruiting station in 2003. After making it through the legendary Paris Island, she was assigned to the military police school at Camp Pendleton, California. It was there she found the K9 unit, and her entire future snapped into focus. Her new partner was a powerful 84-pound German Shepherd named Rex, military designation E168. And Rex wasn't some cuddly puppy. He was a highly trained military working dog, specialized in sniffing out explosives. His official record described him as aggressive, intensely handler focused, and even had not adoptable stamped on it in big letters. To the military, he was a tool of war, a piece of living equipment. But Megan saw something else in him. She saw a fellow Marine. Their initial training was a total battle of wheels. Rex had an attitude, and earning his trust took patience, respect, and almost stubborn commitment. For weeks, Megan was the only person to feed, brush, and walk him. Slowly but surely, she had to earn his loyalty. And just as slowly, the aggressive, handler-focused dog became her dog. They were a team, an extension of one another, getting ready for the trials they had no idea were coming. In May of 2005, Corporal Levy and Sergeant Rex deployed to Fallujah, Iraq, as one of the few women handling a dog in a combat zone. Megan met her share of skepticism from the infantry units she supported, but Rex's skill was impossible to deny. Patrol after patrol, he was out front, his nose to the ground, hunting for the hidden killers of that war. Improvised explosive devices, or IEDs. Together, they served 2 deployments and completed over 100 missions. Their second took them to Ramadi in 2006. They searched thousands of vehicles and buildings, finding hundreds of explosives and saving countless American and Iraqi lives. They were partners in the truest sense of the word. Navigating the constant threat of firefights and mortar attacks, Megan had to put her life in Rex's paws, and Rex, in turn, put his complete faith in her. September 4th, 2006, Ramadi, Iraq. It was a day that changed everything. Megan and Rex were on a foot patrol, leading an army unit down a dusty street. A routine swoop they'd done 100 times before. But insurgents were watching from a rooftop. As Megan and Rex moved to check out a suspicious vehicle, the world just erupted. An IED detonated. The blast was huge, launching both the Marine and her dog more than 10 feet into the air. Megan was knocked out cold. When she came to, dazed and bleeding, her first thought was of him. She desperately tugged at the leash, clipped to her vest, just praying he was still there. He was, wounded but alive. That explosion ended their military careers. Megan suffered a traumatic brain injury that caused hearing loss, and she was left with the invisible lifelong scars of PTSD. She was awarded the Purple Heart and the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for her heroism. Rex had badly damaged his shoulder and suffered neurological issues. Their war was over. In the immediate aftermath, they recovered side by side, 2 wounded warriors healing from a shared trauma. But the military had other plans. Megan's enlistment was ending, and she was honorably discharged in December of 2007. She went home to New York to face the tough road of transitioning back to civilian life. Rex, though, was still considered military property. His contract wasn't up. Despite his injuries, he was patched up and put back to work. Megan had to leave him behind, a decision that ate at her with guilt. She knew that Rex, a one person dog, would never understand why she just disappeared. For the next 4 years, Rex served with 12 different handlers. For Megan, that separation was a constant open wound. She was fighting her own battles with PTSD, and the one soul on earth who could truly understand her trauma was a world away, still serving a system that saw him as an asset, not a hero. Even before her discharge, Megan had tried to adopt Rex, but the request was denied. That label in his file was a brick wall, not adoptable. The military decided he was too aggressive, a potential danger to civilians. Then in 2011, Megan got the news she'd been dreading. Now over 10 years old, Rex had developed facial palsy, a nerve condition that meant he could no longer sniff for bombs. Unable to work, he was at risk of being euthanized, a standard if tragic end for some military working dogs, considered unfit for service or adoption. This was it. The real fight was on. Megan refused to let Rex's story end that way. This wasn't just some dog. This was her partner. She went public, starting a petition that quickly gathered nearly 22,000 signatures from people across the country who were moved by their story. Her campaign got the attention of New York Senator Chuck Schumer. He was furious that bureaucratic red tape was keeping a decorated veteran from adopting her heroic partner. Schumer wrote letters, made calls, and pushed for the Air Force and the Marines to cut through the nonsense and do the right thing. The president of the New York Yankees, Randy Levin, and his wife Mindy also joined the fight, turning up the pressure. The story was all over the news. Suddenly, the military was in a spotlight it couldn't just ignore. The pressure campaign worked. In April 2012, the Marine Corps finally gave in. Sergeant Rex was officially retired from the K-9 unit at Camp Pendleton. Megan flew to California to bring her boy home. After 4 long, painful years, they were finally reunited. The reunion was everything you'd hoped it would be. All the labels, all the baggage, it was all just melted away. The tough as nails Marine and the aggressive dog were just Megan and Rex again. The bond they had, forged in the fires of Iraq, had outlasted a war, a separation, and a mountain of paperwork. Back home in New York, Rex settled into civilian life with an ease that made that not adoptable label look ridiculous. The supposedly dangerous dog swam in pools, played with stuffed animals, and slept on soft couches. He got along just fine with Megan's other pets, proving what was true all along. He just needed the right handler, his handler. Those 8 months were a gift. For Megan, having Rex back was a kind of therapy, a way to heal wounds no doctor could ever see. They were honored as heroes at a New York Yankee game. Their story became a symbol of loyalty and perseverance. They had found their peace together. But their time was tragically short. On December 22nd of 2012, just 8 months of a quiet, happy retirement, Rex passed away from age-related health issues. He was 11 years old. Though her heart was broken, Megan Levy didn't let their story end with his death. She found a new purpose, becoming a veterinary technician and a fierce advocate for the adoption of military working dogs. Her fight for Rex helped shine a national spotlight on a huge issue, pushing for policy changes that have made it easier for handlers to adopt their canine partners after service. In 2017, their incredible journey was made into the film, Megan Levy, making sure their story of courage and loyalty would inspire people for generations to come. The bond between a Marine and their canine is forged in the toughest conditions you can imagine. They're more than a handler and a dog. They're partners, teammates, and best friends. Megan Levy and Sergeant Rex proved that not even war, an IED, or a mountain of bureaucracy could ever break that bond. They fought for their country, and then she fought for him, proving that the promise to leave no one behind applies to every single Marine, whether they have 2 legs or 4. Organizations like the U.S. War Dogs Association and K9s for Warriors to do incredible work in supporting military dogs and their handlers. both during and after their service. If this story moved you, think about looking into what they do. And if you want to see more stories of amazing service and unbreakable bonds, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.